Vamos lá, Sequelitis do Egoraptor, ele aqui falando sobre A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time, legendado. Quem é que não lembra dessa lenda, galera? Eu lembro exatamente no dia em que esse vídeo saiu, ele foi polêmico, teve, acho que hoje tá com 14 milhões de views, e eu achei aqui uma versão legendada, queria poder dar os créditos a quem legendou, mas não sei quem foi. Se você souber, deixa aí embaixo que eu vou deixar os créditos na descrição. Vamos assistir Sequelitis, A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time.
The Legend of Zelda! It's a series so huge, I couldn't help but say it all. Woo! But its hugeness is mostly... Hey, what are you doing over there?
I was just writing my preemptive counter-argument about how you're wrong about my favorite game of all time and the best game ever.
Oh, okay, well...
Cara, eu lembro o quanto era bem animado essas animações do Egoraptor. Cara, realmente era muito bom, cara. Ele fazia, tanto que ele fazia um vídeo a cada sei lá quantos anos, né? Teve o clássico Sequelitis do Castlevania, depois do Mega Man, que aí bombou mais ainda, que eu acho que é o mais bombado dele. Depois ele fez esse aqui do Zelda. E eu acho muito legal, muito engraçado, cara. Ainda bem que achei legendado.
Don't you think that's a little... I don't know, close-minded? I mean, I get you probably liked this game as a kid, but isn't it time we looked at it critically and made a fair analysis of how...
No!
Okay, ask anybody about Zelda. Anyone can tell you what makes a Zelda game, and what a game needs to be a Zelda game. But is that description you'll get really what describes a Zelda game at its core? Is it possible that following this formula might actually be missing the entire point of what makes Zelda awesome, or even what makes a sequel awesome? I mean, Zelda's a game where you swing a fucking sword at some pigs or whatever, and there's bombs, triangles. Got 3 triangles! Do it! And Zelda...
Ah, eu tenho saudade desses vídeos, sério.
You were an adventurer, and, well, seriously, that much wasn't even explained. You were just a green dude, walk to a cave, old dude goes, hey, take this, you're like, okay, it's a sword. You swing it at monsters that shoot rocks and shit at you, and you have a great time killing them. You figure if there's a cave I get a sword in, there must be other caves to get other shit in, right? Maybe other swords? I don't know. This world's neat. Well, that's Zelda. And whether or not Zelda is what it is now, that's how it started, and that's what's...
Cara, engraçado, porque esse vídeo saiu ainda não tinha Breath of the Wild, né, cara? Então, tipo assim, ele tá reclamando que Zelda não é a mesma coisa por causa de Skyward Sword. Eu queria muito saber o que ele acha de Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom hoje em dia. Eu não acompanho os canais dele, nunca mais vi Game Grumps, nunca mais vi nada, então eu não sei o que ele acha. Nunca mais postou nenhum vídeo, né? Mas eu queria saber se ele odeia ou se ele curte pra caramba.
It's all a bazillion games. A trillion million games. Look at how many games there are.
É verdade.
And then eventually Link came out, whatever, I don't care. And then A Link to the Past.
Um dos melhores Zeldas já feitos. Jogue. É acessível por emulação. Tem em português, tem legenda, tem hack pra deixar o jogo mais bonito, pra deixar widescreen, roda em tudo, é maravilhoso.
It was like the definitive Zelda, right?
Sim.
It felt like the first Zelda, but there was so much more. Bigger world, more things going on, it was nuts! My 8-year-old mind couldn't take it. Was I 8? I don't remember. But still, it changed a lot of things. This guy, Link, was given a name and a purpose. Rescue the princess! Save Hyrule! You have an uncle. I don't know what his name is. He dies.
Verdade, muito triste.
In Link to the Past, you start out in a house. You're forced to head up, sneak into a castle, fight some guards, rescue a princess, and bring her through an underground tunnel to some church or whatever, so you can finally go out, have your world to enjoy. Okay, cool. But okay, you want me to talk to some old lady? Okay, then what? Oh, find some kid who knows about where some old dude is? Okay, so here's the old dude. Okay, so go into this temple? Okay. Beat the temple? Okay. Listen. Not your fucking servant. Why do you give me this world to explore and have a good time in, and then you tell me to do these super specific things? You don't throw a 6-year-old into a sandbox and say, hey, you can only make poopy castles. You know when you take wet sand and you just let it drip on top of a pile of sand? It's a poopy castle. I mean, exploration still exists in Link to the Past, and God knows it's required to beat it. But if a game is telling you to do specific things with marks on a map and a sequence of which things to do and specific instructions, you're not discovering a world. You're being taken on a tour.
Verdade, cara, a primeira vez que eu joguei esse jogo, eu fiz as paradinhas lá do mundo normal, né, do mundo da luz, Light World, e eu achei que o jogo era isso. Quando se abriu o Dark World, cara, eu falei, nossa, ainda bem que esse jogo não tá acabando, é só a metade, porque é tão mais legal. É tão mais legal. Inclusive, eu não entendo muito a Link to the Past, né? A Link to the Past, teoricamente, significa um elo com o passado. E o Dark World, então, é o passado do Light World? Porque qual é o elo com o passado? Porque, na verdade, a única travessia que você faz é do Light World pro Dark World e vice-versa, né? Só pode querer dizer que o Dark World talvez seja o passado daquele mundo, não sei. Mas quando eu abri o Dark World foi maravilhoso. As músicas, tudo diferente, muito bom, mais difícil.
You're no longer a pioneer adventurer, you're a guest at Disneyland. Here's your ticket. Be sure to check out Space Mountain Indiana Jones before you leave. Yes, Goofies, wait! Win a prize!
Cara, como eu amo essas animações, sério.
120 pounds? No. It's too low.
The whole game, it feels a bit more processed. It feels a bit more planned. You have a mission, and the mission is laid out for you. And that kind of thing is fine. I mean, I go to Disneyland like 6 times a year. I fucking love the Blue Bayou restaurant. They got great food. Oh! That's a little pricey. But you know what, it's worth it. But Zelda, from its roots, it's not the kind of game that holds your hand. There's no explanation or even really like a goal. But there's adversity everywhere. And you can approach it anytime you want, whether you're prepared or not. You run the real risk of facing off against something that will kill you in a fucking second.
Sabe o que eu queria? Eu queria um remake do Zelda 1, nos moldes ali do remake do Link's Awakening. Não precisa ser com aqueles gráficos, mas naqueles moldes ali, quase que 1 para 1, com algumas melhorias de vida, um gráfico maneiro, estilizado. Pô, isso eu queria.
It's fucking awesome! But if you look at A Link to the Past and The Legend of Zelda from a surface level, they seem the same. There's a bunch of dungeons you get items for. Bombs, triangles, boomerangs, oh my! With bosses and a final fight with a giant pigman, there's a big world with caves and bushes. But it's not the same. There's a shift in soul, a difference in how you perceive and experience the world. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't fucking know. But it's not the same! Oh my god, look at that! The clouds are parting, and the heavens are sending us a message from above! Our eyes squint and adjust to the heavenly glow, when we finally can understand what it says. Hey! There's a 3D Zelda coming out! Oh my god! The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Um dos melhores jogos já feitos. Eu já vi esse vídeo aqui várias vezes, então spoilers. Ele meio que vai não exatamente falar mal de Ocarina of Time, mas tentar argumentar que a Link to the Past é melhor que a Ocarina of Time, e eu discordo.
It's a game considered by most to be a masterpiece. A 3D world with delicious sound and amazing graphics. At the time. Each dungeon in each town feels unique and has its own energy to it. We were all fucking floored. It was so epic. This is what felt like gaming was leading up to.
E foi, né, cara? E foi o futuro dos jogos. Tipo, até hoje, jogo em 3D que tem espadinha bebe disso aí, cara. Com o lock-on, né? A trava de mira. Lógico, tudo foi melhorado, mas a base tá aqui. A base tá em Ocarina of Time.
Felt like a natural progression. It felt like witnessing a fish grow legs. But not that one. That's really gross. So now we have this 3D world, and it felt like that was what made the difference. But what exactly was different? Well, in order to examine that, we have to examine dreaded transition from the second dimension to the third dimension. If we learned anything from Sonic the Hedgehog over here, it's that turning a 2D game into a 3D game, it ain't easy. It ain't even fucking quantifiable.
Exatamente, cara. Esse é o lance. Tipo, se você for pegar Sonic e traduzir 2D pro 3D, a gente teve o que ocorreu. Mario foi uma revolução. Zelda, eles melhoraram essa transição. Eles souberam fazer exatamente o que deveria ser feito de um jogo 2D como a Link to the Past para um jogo 3D como Ocarina of Time. E a gente vai destrinchar os argumentos ao longo desse vídeo.
How do you take the simplicity of form that 2D allows, give it a Z-axis? Everything changes, and it seems to turn a really good game design into a completely fucking broken one. Oh god. Oh my god. Jimmy, don't look. Just look at that! I mean, but Zelda, that one's not too hard. It already technically has 3 dimensions. You got the Y-axis, the X-axis, but you know, you could go upstairs, enemies could jump over you, all that stuff. But that's where the differences start. See, Link to the Past had a selective Z-axis. For example, you couldn't be on the second floor and attack a dude on the first floor, but if the sandworm boss soared over your head and you weren't harmed by it, you could still swing at it and it'd register a hit. Bats fly through the air, but they're always conveniently at sword's height. That shit's asinine in 3D, which ironically in this situation is a limitation of the medium. The more specific you get about situations analogous to reality, the more you have to stipulate on. You can't hit a bat from any z-axis position distance. Now it's really clear where the bats are in 3D space. They're up, down, every fucking where. And aiming your sword would be retarded. Hey! I see you there, Lumen. Dude, man, I'm sorry, I'm just curious. So what do we gotta do to remedy this z-axis problem? Ladies and gents, I present you Z-targeting. Pesky bats flying from every which way, trying to circle around a Stalfos without losing track of where it is relative to you? Have I got a treat for you? Just press the Z button and lock onto the nearest baddie and have a go with your mighty sword device. Check it out. Z-targeting made combat complicated.
Eu discordo.
That's not a bad thing. No more simple point and swings.
Não deixou complicado não, cara. Deixou intuitivo. É lógico que na época as pessoas ainda estavam se acostumando com o mundo todo em 3D. Com a movimentação de um personagem em 3D. A gente não tinha nem analógico direito para poder controlar a câmera. No Zelda Ocarina of Time, para você fixar a câmera atrás do personagem, você tinha que apertar Z, né? E aí ele fixava. Ou era Z ou era L, acho que era Z. E isso ainda era o início. E nas batalhas, com esse lance de você conseguir fixar a câmera com o Z-targeting nos personagens para poder ter uma luta, isso foi genial, porque, por exemplo, o Mario não tinha isso. Era um dos problemas do Mario 64, você conseguir acertar os personagens ali com pulo ou com os ataques que ele tinha. E no Zelda eles consertaram isso. Você consegue travar a mira. E aí, todos os seus ataques, tudo que você faz, todas as ações que o personagem tem, hoje a gente chama de verbos, né, do personagem, se voltam para aquele inimigo ou para aquele objeto que você travou a mira. Cara, isso é genial.
Up here, folks, you gotta lock on, focus on the fight. This is a gigantic difference, and it makes combat complex. Now, I don't say this a lot, but let's see how this is a good thing. A new method of combat means new ways to go about designing enemies in combat situations. You used to just point and hit and run. What the fuck, man? But now, there's rolling, dodging, stabbing, swinging, leaping. Holy shit! So complex. So many possibilities. It's so deep they can make an entire game based on the combat system. But guess what? They didn't! Here's how this is a poopy bad thing. Z-targeting...
Não é ruim! Não é ruim! Eu vou defender aqui. Estou aqui defendendo, né? Zelda contra o Egoraptor. De que o Z-Target naquela época, claro, ele era o início, hoje existem formas muito melhores de se fazer um jogo de 98, mas ainda naquela época não era ruim.
It's a strange disconnect from the world around you. It changes the camera angle from what you're used to exploring the world in, and that shifts your entire focus and outlook. It segments the game into two pieces. This is the combat piece, this is the world exploring.
Isso é bom! É bom dividir... Cara, o jogo ser dividido nesses dois momentos, o momento de combate e o momento de exploração, é bom, porque no momento do combate você fica focado no combate, no momento de exploração você explora, a câmera abre. É isso mesmo.
They don't mix. Put them in a room together, they get into an argument. Hey, fuck you! Hey, fuck you too! Dude, guys, can't we just get along? What do you think this is? Link to the past? Like the man says, in the old Zelda games, those two pieces were linked. There were segments where you had to fight off enemies and explore the rooms simultaneously. It was much easier to manage it all, and now it's complicated and puts you in an unfair situation. What the heck was that all about?
Não, pera aí. Aí eu acho que houve desonestidade, né? Porque você pegou um momento super, sei lá, bugado aí, esquisito de câmera e botou como exemplo de câmera mal usada, de Z-targeting mal usado, né? A gente não pode comparar o melhor aspecto do objeto X com o pior aspecto do objeto Y. Eu acho que é um argumento falacioso, né? A gente tem que fazer esse balanço aí e ser justo com os dois objetos que a gente está comparando.
Targeting also puts a damper on throwaway enemies like bats, who were fun to kill in previous Zeldas, but are now a pain in the goddamn ass since you have to individually focus on each one and precisely hit them. It'd be like if you wanted to kill a bunch of ants in your house by stomping on them, but instead of doing that, you pointed a slingshot at each one individually. Now, okay, on the flip...
Eu também discordo desse argumento porque você não é obrigado a matar todos os inimigos que aparecem em Ocarina of Time. Se fosse uma obrigação... Você, lógico que tem salas que isso é obrigado, mas de um modo geral no jogo você não é. E se fosse uma obrigação você enfrentar todos os, sei lá, morcegos com estilingue ou tentando, né, usar a espada, aí sim seria um saco. Mas o jogo te dá opções. Você pode, caso você precise, por exemplo, de um coração ou de alguma coisa, enfrentar esses inimigos, ou você pode simplesmente fugir deles. Eles estão ali só para ser um obstáculo no cenário, que é em 3D agora. Então eu acho isso muito, muito interessante. Lógico, a Link to the Past tinha isso também. Isso foi melhorado nos outros jogos. Porém, eu acho que esse argumento é inválido, porque você não é obrigado a enfrentar os inimigos. Alguns sim, outros não. Quando você não é obrigado, você só pode simplesmente passar pela sala e tá tudo bem.
Flip side, complicated enemies are a total joy to fight. But the issue then comes up of how they're even designed.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, a lot of the charm from the original Zelda was how ruthless the game was.
And a complex fighting system would be perfect place to implement that. But the source of a lot of Ocarina's problems is that the game's idea of difficulty is waiting. There's so much goddamn waiting. In Ocarina, every enemy has a period where they just stand around and do fucking nothing, and attacking them during this time is useless. Deku Scrubs, Stalfos, Lizardmen, Skulltulas, Wolf Dudes, Gerudos, Clams? Waiting is not a difficult thing to do, but it creates the illusion of difficulty because it takes up your time. And
eu posso concordar em partes com isso, mas eu acho que você esperar e entender o timing de cada inimigo, porque existem vários inimigos nesse jogo, né? Cada um tem um timing diferente. Faz parte da brincadeira também. Quem tá jogando esse jogo de primeira tende a ser ofensivo com os inimigos, já chega atacando e etc. E aí os inimigos eles defendem, né? Então você bate, você percebeu que não causou nenhum efeito, então você espera para entender qual é o timing que ele abre a guarda para você atacar. E também existem outras formas de atacar o inimigo. Você pode dar flechada, você pode jogar bomba, você pode se esquivar, você pode atacar com espada, você pode defender com escudo. Enfim, existem várias formas também de atacar. Não é a única forma de você enfrentar inimigos, não é o único modo, né, de batalha nesse jogo, você simplesmente esperar e atacar, esperar e atacar. Eu acho que existe todo um design aí na batalha de Ocarina of Time, que não é um design perfeito, tá? Foi melhorado em outros jogos da série Zelda e fora da série Zelda também, porém, ainda é fantástico.
that's all it does. A fight feels like an ordeal when you have to devote a decent amount of time to it, but it's not hard. Just look at Final Fantasy IX, Skies of Arcadia, Grandia. These long-ass battles, not hard, but they feel like there's something. This is a mindless interaction, and you're simply going through the motions instead of strategizing. Wait, attack. Wait, attack. Wait, it's not very hard to do, and it's difficult to mess up. The style of it.
E outra coisa, quem disse que precisa ser difícil? Tem que ser difícil? Às vezes a ideia não é ser difícil. Às vezes a ideia é você aproveitar o momento. De fato, não precisa ser difícil. Eu acho que existe uma sina dentro da comunidade de jogadores, né, principalmente desses jogos de RPG, jogo de aventura, jogo de mundo aberto, de que os jogos precisam ser difíceis para serem bons. Dark Souls que o diga, né? Não vem ao caso Dark Souls aqui. Mas eu discordo, existem jogos que são fáceis, bem fáceis. E são jogos muito bons. Ocarina of Time não precisa ser um jogo difícil para ser bom. As batalhas não precisam ser difíceis para serem legais. Tá? É lógico que existem casos em que a dificuldade aumenta a adrenalina e faz com que seja mais interessante, faz com que seja mais legal. Mas não precisa também. Né?
Enemy isn't inherently bad. I mean, it creates an interesting player-enemy relationship where the enemy's controlling the pace of the battle, but the fact that it's a consistent theme in enemies gives the impression that it's used as a difficulty supplement, since none of these enemies are actually difficult to fight. Now, on the flip side, Ocarina has the coolest enemy ever, the Iron Knuckle. It's an enemy that is actually provoked to attack and also to be vulnerable by your own attack, which makes the pace of the battle completely dictated by you and your ability to fight it. Additionally, the nature of his attack pattern requires you to be aware of your surroundings. You can lure him to attack pillars, which yield hearts to replenish your life, which is another layer of depth to the battle. This is the
Cara, eu sinto falta desse tipo de inimigo até nos Zeldas de hoje em dia. São muito legais.
kind of enemy design Ocarina needed so much more of. A merging of combat and world, where you are still very aware of your surrounding in each set piece, even during combat. And the world around you affects your combat. I feel that this particular battle shows how Ocarina could have had an even better combat world connection than Link to the Past, or even the original Zelda, but chose to save it only for many bosses and some boss battles. Could have been every enemy. In any case, the nature of Z-targeting forced Zelda to be more combat-centric, and with it, the world was forced to change, but it didn't. You still push blocks, only now you can't push them when you're engaged in combat, and you still open doors by shooting slingshots at eyeballs in the wall. Is that a puzzle? Like, seriously, is that a puzzle? Is looking around the room and finding an eyeball on a wall really...
Ah, claro que é um puzzle, cara. Você tem que olhar ao redor. Olha. Imagina, contexto histórico da época. Você tinha um jogo que era só em 2 dimensões. X e Y, né? E agora você tem a dimensão Z. Isso faz com que você seja obrigado a olhar ao redor, olhar para o teto, olhar para baixo, olhar para os cantos, entender onde que tá algum ponto ali de interesse escondido. Então, é um puzzle você entrar numa sala que você olha e fala, caraca, como é que eu saio dessa sala? O que eu tenho que fazer aqui? E de repente você olha para o céu, imagina, naquele contexto que você não tinha 3D bem feito nos jogos. De repente você olha para o teto e tem lá um botão para você atirar uma flecha. Você atira nessa flecha e a porta abre. Você, caraca, então eu tenho que prestar mais atenção em todas as dimensões XYZ nesse jogo. Hoje não parece ser grande coisa, mas na época é muito legal. E mesmo hoje em dia, você jogando Ocarina of Time, os pontos de interesse em que, né, esses botões são colocados, utilizando ali da terceira dimensão, são pontos muito interessantes mesmo. São pontos muito legais. Às vezes eles estão escondidos, às vezes estão mais à vista. É um puzzle sim. E é legal, é divertido.
really
sim.
super fun for people. Like, the game is 3D now, so everything isn't laid out before you like a map anymore. So I get that there's this sense that you walk into a room and aren't getting all the information about the room right away, but is stopping your forward motion, stopping everything to look for a diamond to whack that's in a soulless crevice in the wall so you can open a door that leads to another room with a locked door and some other silly open sesame trick. Is that fun?
Eu acho. Eu acho divertido. E é muito fácil falar isso depois de 20 anos que o jogo lançou. Porque na época que lançou era muito foda.
Is this what you want?
Hey, come on, man, it's not that bad.
Shh, Skyward Sword. Seriously, I'm doing like a show.
I know, I just figured I'd give my 2 cents.
I don't care. Nobody likes you.
Isso é verdade, ninguém gosta desse Skyward Sword.
You took fun and made it unfun. How'd you even do that? Maybe I should go douse for a better game, huh?
Hey, man, let's low.
So's my interest in playing you again. Oh, shit! Burn! Burn! So I'm just really proud of what I've done today. Plus, I really hate you. Alright, let me explain something. A puzzle is something you have all the information for. The only thing standing between you and the solution is your own ability to put the pieces together in the right way. The satisfaction you obtain from solving a puzzle is from the aha moment, when the pieces fit and you have only yourself to blame for it. If you're missing a piece, how are you supposed to even get to a conclusion? You rack your brain, run in circles, go, what do I fucking do? Until you find the last piece on a whim, and suddenly it all makes sense. You say, well, shit! Or, come on! The satisfaction does...
Não, eu discordo também, sabe por quê? Porque o Zelda Ocarina of Time ele faz isso aí, de você pegar um item lá na frente que vai te dar uma solução pra resolver um puzzle do passado, como um Metroid faz, né? É uma característica bem Metroidvania do Ocarina of Time, e que outros Zeldas futuros também têm. Eu acho isso muito legal, você tipo, caraca, como que eu faço isso? Como que eu levanto essa pedra gigantesca? Você tenta de tudo, toca música, joga bomba, dá espadada, dá martelada e nada funciona. Aí você, vou desistir disso aqui. No futuro, lá na frente no jogo, você acha uma luva poderosa. Aí você, aí você volta, faz o backtracking, características de Metroidvania, consegue tirar aquele empecilho da tua frente e consegue avançar no jogo. Isso é legal, cara. Isso é bacana pra caramba.
doesn't come from the door opening, it comes from the puzzle itself. If the puzzle itself isn't satisfying, well, there you go. The puzzle itself isn't satisfying. You see, in the original Zelda, you'd walk into a room, the doors would lock, but 5 caped horse sword dude looking guys who are fucking hard as shit surround you. They follow you around when they see you, you can only attack them from the sides or the back. You gotta find vantage points, ins, outs, manage your health, dodge them when they gang up. It's daunting. It's interesting. It engages you. And it's really easy to understand. And because of all this, it's satisfying when you beat them.
É claro que é mais fácil, né? Um jogo bem mais simples, dos anos 80, que você tem 2 dimensões, e o desafio tá em basicamente de você fugir ali do dos bullets, né, dos ataques e, enfim, destruir os monstros pra abrir as portas, é isso.
Opening is like, oh, okay, cool, the door opened. You're not like, fucking finally the door. But look, that's not to say puzzles or whatever can't exist in Ocarina of Time's combat-centric universe. But sliding spiked death pucks coming out from around the corner you can't see is just bad fucking design. It's bad design in any game.
Cara, isso aí... Isso enche o saco mesmo.
Different in Zelda. You don't get a get out of jail free
Isso aí
card.
era sacanagem mesmo.
You gotta roll 3 times! In the first Zelda, you see that shit. In Link to the Past, you see that shit. In Ocarina, oops! Yeah, I know. That's the nature of 3D. But if it doesn't work in 3D, you change it. If the formula doesn't work, you change the formula. Why do I gotta leap across these platforms? There's no challenge here. I hold the joystick up. Just because the scenario's treacherous doesn't mean the game is actually treacherous. I could've just...
Ah, é legal, é legal. Até porque se você, na beirolinha da plataforma, dá uma rolada... Você pula mais alto, você pula mais pra frente. Fora que quando você pega aquelas botinhas que você consegue flutuar no ar, você consegue passar por essas plataformas de forma muito mais fácil. Então você sente que com as suas habilidades e com os itens que você pega no jogo, você vai avançando também, né? Você vai melhorando a tua exploração nas dungeons e no mundo. Você consegue passar por esses desafios, por esses empecilhos, de forma mais rápida, de forma mais fácil.
Just walk forward in a straight line. Heck, I can close my eyes here and do this. Is that treacherous? Can I just close my eyes and shoot at terrorist insurgents and be like, oh, I'm fucking fine? Hey, or better yet, how about some nice interesting combat scenario here on these platforms, huh? Like some kind of enemy that'll circle around you and you just gotta time your jump across or like block his path with a bomb or something. Or like, how about an enemy you have to slash at enough to knock it off the edge? But when you slash him, he also kind of slashes and knocks you back like another well-designed enemy in some other fucking game. I just made that up. I didn't even... And it exists in a good Zelda game. Oh man, enemies in a good Zelda game? Are you talking about me? No. I'm not talking about you. Get out of my house. Go. I can't be too hard on Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword é bem... Skyward Sword realmente, cara...
It at least made bombs bearable to use. You throw a bomb and Link to the Past in 4 directions. Left, right, up, down. In Ocarina you have infinity directions. You also have a really vague idea of where it's gonna land. Especially if you're throwing up or down in different elevations. There's so much room for error, it's fucking unreal. Z-targeting helps, but what if there are enemies around you don't want to target onto? You just want to see straight. You just want to fucking throw a bomb! Skyward Sword added like a throw arc, but it also added bomb bowling. Bomb bowling. It added bomb bowling. Skyward Sword added bomb bowling. It added bomb bowling. Yeah, okay, fuck Skyward Sword. It still handles treasure chests dumb. But to be fair, Ocarina started it. You know, okay, in each dungeon, Ocarina has a unique item in a regular old treasure chest. In each dungeon, it just kind of shows up after a random battle with some enemies. Link to the Past had a giant fucking treasure chest that needed a big key to open. The big key also opened the door to the boss. There's like a genuine giddiness to finding a treasure with such a huge implication to it. The big key not only gives me amazing new treasure, but also allows me to face off against an incredible boss. The time it takes me to get back to the big treasure is like the most fucking suspenseful thing ever. It's like running downstairs to get the presents under the Christmas tree, or menorah, or like whatever. Birthday tree. I often hear that this is a minor point, but it creates an emotional through line for a dungeon. It establishes an important, consistent relationship with the player and the dungeon. It creates goals. It creates expectation. It creates a good fucking game. A treasure chest in and of itself is a mystery and a sense of suspense. The original Zelda didn't have chests, it just had like new items sitting at the end of like a long hallway that built up tension. It gave you time to wonder about what it was and how it worked. Link to the Past added chests, which was another means to the same goal, you know, building suspense. It's a fucking secret box. You see a present and you're like, oh god, I want to open it. Simply walking to the chest is all the suspense you need. When you arrive, the payoff is instant. It opens right away when you hit the button. It shows what it is.
O cara tá reclamando, o maluco tá reclamando do tempo que demora pra você abrir o baú. No A Link to the Past é rápido. E no Ocarina of Time você tem que esperar, sei lá, 10 segundos. Em alguns baús específicos.
Done. I know, it may not appear epic, and it may seem kind of silly and video gamey, but the feeling of suspense is real and very valid. Ocarina decided to add in bullshit. Link opens up the treasure chest all like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god, I'm amazed. Who cares that he's amazed? I want to be amazed. Just show the fucking treasure already. I beat the dudes blocking it. I climbed the ladder or whatever and got here. Why do I gotta wait? Just because the game needs to be all epic and 3D whooshy because of all the graphics and polygons and all whatnot, I gotta wait like, look at how many chests I can open in that time. God! There's so much waiting in Ocarina. You gotta wait for a door to close. You gotta wait for a character to stop talking. You gotta wait for the dialogue box to tell you how to use bombs for the 47th goddamn time. Wait for the switch to make a music tone and open a door across the room. Wait for Link to go flying backwards and then get up off the ground. Wait for bombs to blow up. How fucking long does it take to switch between worlds? You gotta play the Prelude of Light. Say yes. Watch the cutscene. Walk up to the Master Sword plot. Watch the cutscene. Walk out of the Temple of Time. Play whatever song brings you the closest to where you want to go. Say yes, watch the cutscene, and walk all the way to where you want to be.
Você tem que aproveitar o momento. Você toca uma musiquinha pra fazer o fast travel, a viagem rápida. Você tem que ouvir a música, apreciar a música. Aí você vai pra outro lugar, caminhar pra o seu objetivo, você tem que aproveitar a caminhada. Vai ter inimigo no caminho. Você tem que aproveitar a jornada. Você vai abrir um baú, vai demorar? Cara, é porque tem alguma coisa recompensadora ali pra você. Tem a musiquinha. O jogo não é feito só de, lista de objetivos que eu tenho que concluir. Não. Não é uma lista de objetivos que você tem que concluir e acabou. Você tem que apreciar o que tá sendo entregue pra você ali. Música, gráficos, gameplay, verbos, a expressão que você pode ter em relação a esse personagem com esses verbos, e o cenário, e o design dos personagens, e a história, o texto, tudo isso compõe esse jogo. Você simplesmente querer que ele seja urgente, e meu Deus, tem que ser rápido, abriu, não sei o que, tira pra mim, tira todo o coração do jogo, toda a alma do jogo.
And Link to the past, you equip a mirror, press a button, you're there. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I am harshly criticizing Ocarina of Time on the internet. I'm gonna get crucified!
Verdade.
Waiting is the bane of exploration. Why would I want to explore in a world where I gotta waste useless time just to check a fucking room? You should never, ever, ever hit that point where you're like, I'll check that room later. In a game about checking rooms! I mean, you're exploring a world, right? And then they decide, hey, we're gonna streamline the dungeon process. Guess what? You enter a dungeon, halfway through, you get an item that helps you through the other half of the dungeon, and then you use that item on the boss to render it hittable, and then you hit it with a sword, typically in a pattern of 3 times. But that part can vary. Ladies and gentlemen, please exit through the gift shop, try our Triforce shaped
Pô, aquele chefão eu acho massa pra caramba. Chefão que ele fica ali circulando, abre a boca, você tem que jogar uma bomba dentro dele. Inclusive tem uns chefões que homenageiam o Ocarina of Time no Tears of the Kingdom. Eu acho isso muito
ice cream
legal.
bars? Can you please tell me what about this world is interesting if I know before I even finish the dungeon what the boss battle's gonna be? Oh, I got a slingshot. Maybe I hit some big glowing object with a slingshot. Oh, a mirror shield that lets me reflect light and stuff. Maybe the boss is gonna be a dude that I gotta reflect.
E se eu te falar que isso, de você entrar numa dungeon, pegar um item, derrotar o chefão daquela dungeon com o item que você encontrou ali dentro, é o que eu mais sinto falta em Breath of the Wild e Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild e Tears of the Kingdom mataram isso. E eu sinto tanta falta, cara. Hookshot, essa lupa que você consegue ver as coisas invisíveis, outros itens super maneiros, aquele item que era tipo uma Beyblade no Twilight Princess que faz você explorar o mundo e lutar contra outros inimigos também. Cara, eu sinto tanta falta. Esse espelho que reflete fogo, reflete luz e você consegue lutar. Cara, essas duas bosses aí, essas duas bruxas, que é uma de fogo, outra de gelo, elas são algumas das chefes mais legais do Ocarina of Time. Mais legais, muito maneiro, cara. E a gente não tem nada muito parecido com isso em Breath of the Wild e Tears of the Kingdom, é o que eu sinto falta.
reflect light at. Look, I know you can argue that this is actually good game design, but a game where I'm adventuring and I'm supposed to be excited about what's to come, it's kind of hard to wonder wide-eyed about something that's so predictable. It hurts. Ooh, darn. Ooh, jeez, arg. And this like streamlining process in Ocarina is present even outside the dungeons. Every little piece of this game is just hopping over some roadblock that needs you to do some specific thing to make it to the next roadblock. It's a game about jumping through hoops. Superman 64. Hey man, there's a closed door. Find the eye symbol, hit it with a slingshot. Another closed door. Find a key. Another closed door. Press a button. Another.
Mas isso é o design do jogo, né? Você acha lugares fechados. É igual um Metroid. Você acha lugares que não tem como você acessar, você volta pra procurar um item ou alguma informação, alguma coisa que faça você acessar aquele lugar. Você volta pra esse lugar, você consegue acessar esse lugar e você avança no jogo. Esse é o desafio. Isso é legal.
Closed door. Give this dude a letter from Impa. And again, look, there's some exploring, but a random secret cave in the ground isn't going to lead you through a complex catacomb with a mini-boss at the end. It just won't. It's not gonna happen. You'll fall, you'll get a treasure chest, go da-da-da-da, and fucking leave. They would not sacrifice their precious formula for a little bit of fun. Link to the Past had a little bit more variety. Sometimes the item you get in a dungeon isn't even a weapon. Sometimes the boss can be defeated with just the fucking sword. Sometimes the boss needs to be defeated with an item from a dungeon 2 dungeons ago. There's one boss that you have to beat him with an item that you don't even get in a dungeon. It still felt like an adventure. Like you had like this arsenal you've been collecting, and you're using it whenever it may be useful. And it may be useful anytime. You gotta be ready for that shit. Original Legend of Zelda had some dinosaurs. There's a dinosaur. So look at that dinosaur. There's a fucking dinosaur right there. It's this kind of misdirection of like what you should care about in Zelda that really bugs me about Ocarina. Like, let's take its story for example. Ocarina's story provides you with a context to your quest. That accomplishing this will save this or change this, but it refuses to acknowledge the player's innate sense of wonder and drive to quest and fight. Players want to fight bosses. They want to be rewarded.
Esse chefe foi massa pra caramba também. Nossa, o cara tá só mostrando coisa boa do jogo e falando mal, eu fico agoniado.
For their efforts, they want to enter a dungeon. See what
Essa dungeon também é muito boa.
inside and succeed against enemies. But you gotta put that feeling aside. There are more important matters at hand. The Sheikahs or the Hylians or whatever. Save the Hylians. Gorons don't have rocks to eat. That's why you gotta quest. Gorons gotta eat. The fuck are the Gorons? I don't even care. And then what we're left with is what feels like a formality. Dungeons with doors that need to be opened, bosses that are beaten in the same fucking manner every time. I think the idea that you're told you're a hero saving a kingdom is at least somewhat unnecessary. When it's an order delivered by the game, it becomes a task. It's like a job. The message should be in that, as a player,
Você trata isso como um trabalho, como um job. Na verdade, eu acho que as pessoas que tratam os jogos como obrigações, assim, né? De tipo, eu tenho esses pontinhos no mapa e eu tenho que completá-los todos pra poder zerar o jogo. Eu acho que são pessoas que acabam não se divertindo muito, assim, jogando, né? Porque não aproveitam tudo que tá em volta e tudo que o jogo pode te oferecer. Lógico que eu tô falando de um jogo bom, a exemplo, o Ocarina of Time, né?
your idea of fun ends up making you a hero. Fighting monsters is what you live for and isn't what, say, this fucking guy lives for. Why aren't all these other dudes going out and fighting monsters and questing? Because they're not heroes. They don't find it fun. But you, the player, find it fun. You find killing monsters fun. You find ridding the world of evil things fun. That makes you a hero. Not the dialogue, not the story. A book can tell you the main character's a hero with dialogue. A movie can too. But in a game you can feel it. You can experience it firsthand. You don't need dialogue. Why was the inclusion of so many semantics necessary? And I don't buy the argument that they're only there to enrich the world with story, because adding those contexts to the situation is devaluing design aspects. The game literally stops for you to complete some asinine story task. Look, you go to Kakariko Village. You go to the entrance of Death Mountain. Dude won't let you pass. You go, what the fuck, man? I want to go up there. That's what I want to do. But no. You have to wait for the game to tell you why you want to go up there. You know why you want to go up there. You want to fight some dudes, fight a boss, get a cool weapon. But no, you gotta go talk to Zelda. Oh, the world is... And then Impa's like, hey, you know, this is really important, so I'm gonna give you this note to give to this guy. I don't care. Nobody cares! You seriously just made me waste my time, press A bunch of times, so that I could go up there! Just like a fucking... There's a tiny wall standing between me. I could climb over it. I'm an agile kid. I could climb the shit out of that. I climb vines all the time. No big deal. Purposely misinforming the player about why they should care about what they're doing displaces their values, and it creates a "you can't tell me what to do" attitude towards the game. And that's the last thing you want a game to do. You don't want a game to nag at you, especially in a game with an open world. Just look at how many fucking people hate Navi and Fee. All they do is nag and tell you what to do. Who the fuck wants to be told what to do? Am I in a cubicle? Am I sitting in a cubicle playing a Zelda game? No. See, this is why I think the Master Sword is brilliant, particularly in Link to the Past, because it's talked about in literal terms. It's a sword that will make you more powerful and defeat evil. That's what it actually does for you, the player. There's no bullshit about avenging your mother or saving a village from persecution or giving Gorons rocks. There's rocks everywhere. What is wrong with you? Your whole town is made of rocks and you're starving? The Master Sword is just the sword of evil's bane. Fucking awesome. How exciting is that? A new awesome sword. Count me the fuck in. And don't get me wrong, I don't think a world where people walk and talk is flawed, but having to trigger the ability to explore by walking and talking, it's annoying. It's like your mom. You can't have dessert so you eat your peas. Can't explore the dungeon till you play Saria's Song for Goron. There are ways to involve characters in a story and not...
Cara, essas mecânicas de você tocar as músicas e aprender as músicas, e cada uma delas tem uma função diferente e tem um contexto diferente. Tem a música dos Goron, tem a música da floresta, tem a música das dungeons. Tudo isso é massa pra caramba. Isso é legal pra caramba. Isso compõe o jogo enquanto obra cultural. As pessoas lembram muito de Ocarina of Time por conta das músicas. As pessoas lembram muito do Ocarina of Time por conta dos itens, por conta da viagem no tempo, e de como que você viaja no tempo, e como uma coisa afeta a outra quando você é mais novo, depois você fica mais velho. E tudo isso é a soma dessas pequenas partes que faz com que o jogo seja maior do que ele de fato é, né? Com que ele seja brilhante e considerado um dos melhores jogos de todos os tempos. Ele tem muitos problemas que são muito fruto da sua época, né? Por limitações técnicas, limitações de design, e até mesmo, né, pelo que eles não sabiam o que dava pra fazer com o design do jogo. Isso foi sendo corrigido ao longo de vários anos, até os dias de hoje, com outros jogos, de mundo aberto ou não. Só que Ocarina of Time é muito querido por conta desses fatores que eu falei. E você tá ignorando, né? O Egoraptor tá ignorando todos esses fatores aqui.
Not have them be utterly boring and detached from what you're doing. Why not have a Goron that helps you fight? Goes blows shit up while you're doing stuff.
Engraçado que no Tears of the Kingdom a gente tem isso, né?
Why not have the Goron stay healthy by eating rocks and they're slowly becoming rare
Será que a Nintendo assistiu esse vídeo dele pra fazer os outros jogos?
as you progress through the dungeon? And he's on the verge of fatigue. Shit! Don't you want to get him some rocks to stay the hell alive? Let's keep moving so my friend can live. See, I'm a
É uma ideia muito interessante, só que tipo, o Ocarina of Time seria capaz de fazer isso no Nintendo 64 naquela época? Não sei.
video game player. I care about slashing things, finding things, having an adventure, not wandering around until I pressed A at all the right places in the right order for whatever fucking story reason. It's like the longest page turn ever. Imagine you had to walk across your house back and forth 3 times before you could turn the page in a book you're reading. Gosh, isn't that stupid? Wouldn't that be retarded? That's where you're fucking...
Sabe por que não é? Porque quando você vai e volta e você passa pelo mesmo lugar várias vezes, nunca é o mesmo lugar várias vezes. Você faz caminhos diferentes. Você, eu vou explorar por ali. Eu vou enfrentar esse inimigo agora desse lado. É um sandbox. O jogo ele tem ciclo de dia e noite. As músicas mudam, os personagens aparecem. Você é um agente ativo desse jogo. Você pode ou não pode fazer essa travessia de formas diferentes, de formas que só você faz. Isso é o que a gente chama de narrativa embutida naquele jogo. Ou melhor, narrativa emergente. Enfim, eu sei que são termos já batidos, mas essa é a narrativa emergente. Isso é o que acontece só com cada um dos jogadores, e quando eles vão se reunir pra conversar, cada um fez de um jeito diferente, por mais que seja um jogo linear.
fucking doing in video games? Things just need to be simple. And what I mean by that is, Link to the Past added a story to make everything a little more epic. And since it was the same kind of game as the first, the game needed those tropes to come back. All those enemies and elements, while adding new ones too. But with that, a formula was born. A through line is important for a series, but when it acts like a katamari of tropes and elements that can't be forgotten or changed, things start getting sloppy and samey. We get games that become less and less interesting. Shigeru Miyamoto once described his idea for Zelda coming from the feeling he got from wanting to explore caves near his house as a child, which led to an amazing game where you explore caves and dungeons and found wondrous things. The irony is that when it came time to make sequels, Nintendo cared more about the things that were found rather than the mystery itself. There is no mystery in modern Zelda games. Hey man, I'm mysterious. God, shut up! Seriously! You want all this attention like you care, like you really gave it your all in a new innovative Zelda experience, but instead you led Zelda into a frustrating monotony. You know, what started the franchise was like the sense of wonder, and what has thus far concluded the franchise is a sense of formality. A predictable, time-consuming mess that asks you not of your sense of adventure, or even your wits, but instead your ability to listen and follow directions. You ask of us our ability to point something at something else and then walk towards it. You ask of us our willingness to get another bow and arrow.
Esse chefão é muito legal, inclusive, no Skyward Sword, apesar de eu achar que o jogo realmente é mais fraco do que as pessoas acham, né? Ou talvez as pessoas já achem ele fraco hoje em dia.
Another boss with another giant glowing eyeball. Gee, I wonder how to fucking beat it. I fucking wonder, Skyward Sword. You ask of us to get a cat from the top of a roof and carry him over to some guy who says thank you. The Adventures of Link, Cat Delivery Man. Is that your title? What's the tagline in the ads? Cat's out of the bag and onto the roof. 10 out of 10. No Wiimote motion issues here that could possibly cripple the entire experience. Best in the series. You're like a spoiled rich kid who gets everything bought for you your entire life. And then when it comes to making it on your own, you can't take it. You expect everyone to love you because you are who you are. Part of the illustrious Zelda lineage. Nothing could possibly be wrong with you. You look just like a Zelda. But you're not one. You're a pampered, doughy snob wearing nice clothes, expecting to graduate scot-free because your daddy's an alum. Why would you need to improve? Why would you need to get any better? Everyone just agrees with your shitty ideas because you're a Zelda.
Na época, Skyward Sword foi muito bem recebido, cara. Impressionante. É lógico que parte disso foi porque, primeiro, o jogo é lindo. Eu acho a direção de arte dele maravilhosa. E segundo, ele usava melhor, né, aquele Emotion Plus, que fazia o sensor de movimento assim um pouco mais responsivo e quase 1 para 1, e você realmente conseguia balançar a espada ali e tal. Mas ele era um jogo feito para o público casual do Wii. Então ele era cheio de tutoriais intermináveis que você não podia pular. Isso foi mudado inclusive no remaster para o Switch, né? Você pode avançar e pular os tutoriais. E é um jogo cheio de puzzles sem graça e muito curto, né? Você tem até uma história interessante ali, que é a história de origem, mas ele realmente não é um jogo muito bom. As dungeons não são inventivas, o jogo ele não é muito profundo, você não tem muita variedade em nada. Ele nem é muito aberto, né? Ele é um jogo super fechadinho. Na verdade, ele é... Enfim, também não gosto.
Fuck you, Skyward Sword! Fuck you! Now, as I spent 373,000 years writing this freaking video, a new Zelda game showed up that made everyone pee their pants. You know, except me, because I don't do that.
A Link Between Worlds é ou talvez um dos melhores Zeldas já feito. Esse sim. Cara, top 3 fácil, a Link Between Worlds.
Weird. It was a direct sequel to Link to the Past, taking place in the same aesthetic world of Link to the Past. It's called A Link Between Worlds, and I love it.
Eu acho ele melhor que a Link to the Past. Acho a Link Between Worlds melhor que a Link to the Past.
Alright, look, it's worth mentioning that it does have nearly an entire formula ripped from a game, but it's fun.
Sim.
But why? Well, I feel partly because it has less wait time, but it's mostly because of the new mechanic, which is beautifully integrated to the point of feeling second nature, like jumping in a Mario game. On top of that, you have nooks and crannies around every turn that contained weird hidden stuff, and there's also this system of pay for an item that adds this interesting value to rupees that no other Zelda had. Not even Twilight Princess with its stupid weird fucking dumbass endgame magic not magic armor bullshit. Wow, look at that. Sure is expensive to die. Is what we're seeing a commentary on capitalist society and life insurance policies choking the life out of middle America? What's more, nearly every item in A Link Between Worlds has multiple uses aside from its, intended dungeon use, and has such a broad feel that they can all be upgraded to be even more useful. While it does eliminate the mystique of finding an item, it allows each dungeon to have a spoil that feels less like it's in tandem with the dungeon. Like it's a treasure that you can enjoy as a general adventurer. Not just as a house guest of fucking Mr. Vulnerable for a Sec, Glowy Eyeball, McWeak to Arrows.
Esse chefão é legal, cara. Eu gosto do design dele. Tá que ele é super óbvio, tá o olho brilhando ali pra você acertar. Mas ele tem um design muito interessante, ele se passa num lugar muito interessante, a música é muito legal, eu gosto desse chefão.
My one weakness laying around my house. Oh no! Ow! Jeez, man, that's my glowy eye! I use that to see? So, I think what I've been discussing this whole video doesn't seem like it applies much to this game at first glance, but it absolutely does. This game decided to switch up the Zelda formula from a different angle. And while it doesn't eliminate the Zelda staple items and constant reuse of existing enemies, it does something different in how you interact with all of them. And that something different works. It changed how you explore the world itself, how you find things, and how you figure out things about the world around you. A stupid spinning dumbass top thing doesn't change anything. You find a track on a wall and you ride it. It's like a teleporter, but instead of being transported instantly, you just get there at normal speed. A double dumbass claw shot doesn't change anything. It just means instead of having to land on a platform and awkwardly aim to another claw shot target, you don't have to land on a platform when you awkwardly aim to another claw shot target. Thank God! But this shit, it changes how you view platforms, their relationship to one another, how you view distance, how you view the differences between low rule and high rule. It feels like you're exploring a world again. And the things you find are less important than the way that you find them. It's back to how it felt before. The reward was the fact that you did it! Not that you found a thing. And you know what? I think this may be Nintendo's way of easing people into being open-minded about a shift in Zelda. I mean, look at this shit! What? Hyrule Warrior? What the fuck does that even mean? Look, what is going on? Holy crap! Oh my god, this big thing! Jeez, what? How could they ruin Zelda? How could they ruin my favorite thing? Yeah! I'm sure it's good. Hey, thanks for listening to me shout my opinion at you for fucking 30 minutes. I hope I
esse vídeo é muito bom, eu amo esse vídeo, apesar de... apesar dele... cara, discordar muito do que tem nesse vídeo, mas isso não me faz não gostar dele. Eu acho maravilhoso a animação, o storytelling, enfim, Egoraptor, saudades desse tipo de vídeo. Mas ainda acho Ocarina of Time melhor que a Link to the Past, e acho A Link Between Worlds melhor que Ocarina of Time. Tá? Então tá aí. Maravilhoso. Fica aí o vídeo gigantesco pra vocês.